Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the IVES. This is their part number RB470. This is a curved roller bumper is what it is. This is shown in the B3 finish. And this is a relatively uncommon doorstop. It's uncommon because the application that calls for this to be used is somewhat uncommon, and when it is called to be used, it's somewhat uncommon for people to actually install the hardware to fix the problem. The problem that this is meant to help solve is when you have two doors that open up on perpendicular walls, and they conflict with each other when they're in their opening cycle. Having a door open into another door that's ajar is definitely not a good thing for many reasons. Damaging the door, number one. Preventing that door from closing correctly. Damaging, of course, the hardware. Leaving an unsafe condition in terms of a door being open, which, doors are meant to be closed. Doors are only effective when they're closed. It also will, I think, by not solving the problem, create a situation where the problem will only get worse with the doors being held ajar. Trying to say there is that a problem that is continual, where you've got a door being left open and another door hitting it, will not become less of a problem, and it will probably only increase as a problem. You're going to see this application in some residential construction. You're going to see it in hotel construction as well. Sometimes these hotel rooms, a hotel built in the 1960s. Well, I was just in one in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and the building is for sure 1960 construction, but they've continued to update the place. And if it wasn't really for the fact that I'm a door and hardware person, you really wouldn't know that all of the internal material in the room itself wasn't relatively new. But there was some construction. There was like a linen closet that opened out, and when that linen closet opened out, sure enough, that door into the bathroom itself would easily hit that. Now, who would ever, leave a linen closet door open? Because if you left it ajar, you kind of couldn't open that door to get out. But it does happen, is the bottom line. Open up that bathroom door and bang, right into the other door. So there are two styles of roller bumpers. There's curved and then there's straight. In curved, there's just this one size. Okay, meaning it's what I'm driving at is its projection from the face of the door to the roller, and also its length. The curved style, you'll have a 4.5-inch length and a 6-inch length, and those sizes are generally based on how much projection of trim you have on the door. You could probably get away with the 4.5, but you'll need to measure that, what would be best when you get the doors to their point of maximum conflict, determine what length of straight roller bumper you would need. But the RB470, that's going to be an application where you will have two doors that swing into each other, and they're of opposite hands. Forgive me, there are two doors that swing into each other and they're of the same hand. The opposite hand model would be for the straight bumper. The best thing to do to illustrate this is to move to the screen view so we can look at not only the extended description but the drawing of where in what application calls for a curved roller bumper. Let's do that now. So the item that we're looking at is here, and before we get to the application, the RB470, let's take a look at the different finishes that we have listed. We have listed, okay, we may not have all of them listed. I find it hard to believe it's only available in polished chrome, satin chrome, and polished brass. We'll dive into that next. Okay, so let's take a look at the document that's here. Before we do that, before we get to the supporting documents, curved roller bumper, the base size, the arm offset, and the length. We'll go over that with a tape measure. Heavy-duty cast brass. Yes, this item is indeed made of solid brass by way of casting. The RB470 used were two doors open against each other to prevent damage to the doors and hardware. Replaceable roller bumper is available. This 156.16 is a ANSI standard that this is compliant with. I don't know the exact wording of that standard, but you can obtain that should you see what this is compliant with. You will see in specifications that the hardware is to be compliant with ANSI 156 dot something. The 156 series relates to door hardware and doors as well of all types. Brass material. It's made of solid brass, and this has a polished brass finish. Now, the supporting documentation. Let's look at the product brochure first. The product brochure is going to show us... Okay, so I definitely stand corrected. I was unaware that IVES has 3 different sizes of this material. Okay, let's back up. What they're seeing here is the RB470, which is the curved, and then the 2 versions of straight. There are a total of 3 sizes. For a moment, I thought they were showing us curved only. So the RB470 is the curved one, and specifically intended to mitigate 2 doors that swing into each other that are of the same swing, even though, you know, one of these doors is a, you know, they're both left-hand. One could be a right-hand reverse if this was a closet, okay? But nonetheless, this is a very common situation. Let's say that this is the entry door to the bathroom and this is the closet. This door being left ajar all the time will absolutely cause the latch bolt from this door to definitely make contact with the knob, with the door, etc. And the curved model is meant to accommodate that sort of conflict. The straight version is intended for 2 doors of opposite swing. Okay, the curved model works appropriately when you move that vertical axis of pivoting to the other jamb, where a straight model wouldn't work at all in this application. There would be nowhere to really mount that to get any sort of relief when you have 2 doors that swing in of opposite hand. Okay, so that's all very handy to have access to. And that is indeed correct. The RB470 is indeed available only in these 3 finishes: polished brass, polished chrome, and satin chrome. RB470. Okay, so 1 asterisk is the 472, and 2 is the 2 straight versions. So indeed, that is interesting. I'd see no reason why they couldn't or don't offer that. If you need curved roller bumpers in an oil rub bronze or a satin nickel or a satin bronze or a satin brass or a antique nickel or a powder coated black, well, reach out to us. We will definitely find you a manufacturer who can oblige that requirement. But this document is really handy because it gives you the consolidated overview in terms of when you're going to use curved and when you're going to use straight. So that's really helpful. The next document that's here is going to be the cut sheet, which is really more of a technical drawing of the item. 2 3/4 total projection. They are showing us a total length of 5 inch, and we'll check those dimensions on camera with a tape measure. Place roller bumper as illustrated. The vertical location is up to the installer. The vertical location. So what they're saying is the height at which you install this from the floor is a decision that you have to make. Mark the screw holes. Drill for the number 8 screws, which are included. When 2 bumpers are required, place one higher than the other to prevent interlocking. Doors should be properly reinforced. Absolutely, there should be blocking in the door. When doors are manufactured for a hardware set, this needs to be called out so that the door can be properly blocked and reinforced for it. Okay, let's switch back to the camera view, take those dimensions, and complete the video. I do want to call your attention to this link here to the manufacturer's page, because I will talk about it at the end of the video. Now let's go over those dimensions we talked about. Here it is. So they were saying that the projection is going to be 2 3/4 from the face of the door to the outside of the bumper. I would say that that would be, I wouldn't call any foul about that. That would be accurate. They also tell us that the overall length is 5 inch. I would say that that would be in the ballpark as well. Overall length of the base, they have it 2 1/4. That's correct. Overall width of the base, they have it at, I don't see that they tell us at all what it is. Doesn't really matter so much, I suppose. Tape measure is here. About 1 inch and 11/16. Okay, that is certainly cast brass. This is what, this is 605. That means 3 things. It's made of solid brass. It's in a highly polished finish, and it has a lacquer applied to it. Okay, that bumper is available as a separate item, but interestingly, they only offer the rivet that is used to install this in a chrome or nickel type finish. So if you can get those rivets separated without damaging them to reuse them, it'll save you of having a rivet in the wrong color. I don't know why they don't offer it in the right color. There's obviously not sales history enough for them to justify having it. Those screws that I mentioned earlier, they are included. Number 8 screw with an oval head. Look like about a number 8x1. They're made of steel. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If they were made of brass, you're going to get people that are going to, shear the screws. Absolutely pre-drill your holes. You don't want to get into trouble splitting the door or breaking your screw or stripping your screw. So finally, that link I had mentioned earlier to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the IVES products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the IVES, this is their part number RB470 in a B3 finish, or any other IVES product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.